E is for edge, not the guy from U2, not the 1970s pulp western character, but edge as in the edge of a blade. And you find me here in my spare room because the weather has been pretty bad today, and now the light is going, and I wanted this white background to stand out against. So, E is for edge. This is just going to be a little short talk because everybody knows what an edge is, right? It's the really thin side of a knife or a sword or whatever that actually cuts. You know, if you yeah, if you've had a steak or you've had anything that requires cutting, you know what the edge is. But it's not always as simple as that in the world of historical fencing, especially for newbies or people who, for example, have only done SCA fencing and not really looked at historical manuals, where we discover that although most weapons, although most knives and swords have either one or two edges, unless they're those African throwing knives that have God knows how many. There are, what, half a dozen different named edges. You have the edge, you have the false edge, the back edge, the true edge, the long edge, the short edge. Okay, how do you get that with only one or two edges? And that's what I want to have a little chat about, so that if people want to go and look at manuals or want to transfer over to HEMA or are just curious about this sort of stuff, because they write or something, or do some writing or something, then hopefully you'll know why. So let's start off. Obviously something like katana has a single edge. Here, this bit would be blunt. This of course is an SCA legal sword, so it's not actually sharp, so I can do this and my hand won't fall off because this is actually not a sharp edge. But it's thinner than this side. So we'll call this the edge. Okay, on a live katana, that's the edge. So that's fairly simple. It's the edge and there's a blunt side. And the same is more or less true of messers, sabers, those kind of things. You will have, whether it be a straight edge or a straight blade or a curved blade, you'll have an edge and something blunt in the back. So that's a one-edged, single-edged weapon. When it comes to double-edged weapons, whether they be rapiers, side sword, or long sword, two edges, one, two, right? Now we've got two. And this is where we start getting these other names in. Because we have this issue, as I say, of there is an edge, there is another edge, but we call them edge, false edge, true edge, back edge, long edge, short edge. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, when it comes to long and short edge, is that something to do with, for example, one of these where there's an edge here, and this one's live, so I'm not I'm not gonna mess with it. Is that a short edge? Well, it is pretty short, but that's not why we call the short edge a short edge. So the reason we have these different edges works like this. If I have a single-edged weapon, here I am, the edge is towards you, one side towards me. If this was actually double-edged all the way down, if it was a straight-bladed side sword or something, then you have two edges. The edge towards you is what you'd call the edge, the true edge, or the long edge. They're all the same thing. The edge, that if I'm holding it this way, is towards you. The other three phrases, the back edge, the false edge, the short edge, is the side towards me. Right? And so it's the same with longsword. I hold it like this: edge, true edge, long edge, false edge, back edge, short edge. and it's because of the hand position, essentially, that makes it true or false, or long or short, front or back. Except we don't call this edge the front edge. It's like the Forth bridges. There is a Forth bridge and there is a Forth road bridge. The Forth bridge is a rail bridge, but you don't call it the Forth rail bridge. Right? Same thing. This is a front edge. You don't call it the front edge. It's just the edge, or the long edge, or the true edge. And the reason these, one of the reasons anyway, these names for the things came about is they vary according to language, geography, and who originally wrote about them. So the phrases long edge and short edge come from the Lichtenauer tradition. Meyer refers to them, for example, as this is the long edge and this is the short edge. And the reason, one of the reasons I think why, because if I'm making a cut, it's a nice long reach, the back edge or false edge, or that he calls the short edge, is because, okay, I've made a cut here. If I'm going to try and do this, my range is shorter. I think that's a good enough reason why we call that a short edge. It may not be the real reason. Who knows? But it's one of those possibilities for why we call this the short edge. And now, I know what you're thinking, how do I know which way around to hold it? Because obviously, this sword, well, I know that's the front, right, towards you, because it is the guard there. How do I know which is the front in the longsword? Well, again, actually, it's all to do with simply which way around it is in the hand. This way around, this is the long edge, this is the short edge. If I turn it, this is the long edge, this is the short edge. It's always the same way. The edge towards you is basically the long edge. The edge towards me is the short edge. Then when you get to the rapier manuals, for example, people like Silver, George Silver, start calling them false and true edges. Silver makes a lot of references to true and false things. He talks about it in timing as well. We'll get to that when we get to T is for time. So then he calls the long edge the true edge, and the short edge the false edge. So you know, always keep your true edge towards the enemy, essentially. And that's why that's called that. In case you are looking through these manuals and thinking, why does this one say false edge and this one say short edge? Why does this one say true edge and this one says long edge? That's what they mean. And back edge, of course. That one's fairly simple again. It's, you know, Forth bridge, Forth rail bridge, edge, back edge, because it's at the back when you hold it like this. So that's basically why we see these weird names, or a quick guide to why these weird names, these 6 different names, and there are probably way more than 6 when you look at other languages, for 2 edges. But hopefully knowing that might encourage you to go and look at some manuals, or swap across to HEMA, or you know, learn more about it, and thus not be put off when you suddenly see people saying long edge, short edge, etc., and start looking for why is it called that, or does it refer to just this part of the blade, and you know, which it doesn't. So that's basically it. That's E is for edge, and that's the end of today's casual fencing A to Z. Hopefully the weather will be better tomorrow and we'll see you outside.